A little over a week ago while I was at the Equip Expo, I was talking to some friends there and asked them what are some of the things that I need to see, and one of the recurring things was this hybrid mower technology. So in today's video we're going to look at that in depth, and then at the end of this video we're going to see how it's implemented their product on the right mower. I'll give you just a little clip from that you're going to want to check out where Ed Wright's talking about it. So let's get to that technology.
I'm Park Lucas, I'm with Hydra Gear. I'm the market segment manager for non-turf. But today what we're really debuting in our booth is our new hybrid technology. And the hybrid technology is truly hybrid. You know, a lot of hybrids that you see on the market today will have an engine powering a generator, but that's not the case here. It's a true hybrid. So it's not just a range extender that a lot of the hybrids on the market are today. That's the side benefit that you get from it, but it's a true power multiplier. And what we're talking about is using a smaller horsepower engine. So you don't need 30 to 40 horsepower on a machine this size. You can now get by with a 22 horsepower, and you can turn it down to maybe 3,200 RPM instead of 3,600 RPM. And so what that gives you then is less fuel consumption. The generator for us is really our decks, right? The deck motors themselves. So they're electric deck motors, and you can run it in one of three modes. You can run full EV, you can run it in hybrid mode, and you can run it in power mode. And what hybrid mode is as the engine will also spin that same deck motor, and as it's spinning, it's charging the battery back up. And then in power mode, for those cases, early spring, where you've got that thick, wet, heavy grass, or you're mowing maybe every other week, where you really just need to plow through it at full speed. Now you can run it in power mode where you have both the engine and the electric motor working together, and now you've got 40 horsepower to those decks. And that's incredible. So on average, obviously it depends on the chassis, the type of vehicle that you're in. And by the way, Hydra Gear just sells systems. We sell solutions to the turf industry. So 80–90% of all the turf vehicles that you see out here, we're represented in, right? And so that's what we do. Is provide these systems. So depending upon how the deck is made and how much fuel you got on board, but if you've got 10 gallons of fuel on board, you're going to burn maybe a gallon, maybe less, maybe a little bit more, depends on the conditions that you're mowing. But you can literally go all day on one fill up. You don't have to worry about charging your battery, because when you're in hybrid mode, it'll run EV on the deck until the battery reaches a low state of charge cutoff, and then once it hits that, it'll automatically turn the engine on, and when it turns the engine on, then it'll start charging the battery up. And once it reaches the high cutoff point for charge, the engine will shut off and you'll be back to EV. But it's really, really nice, especially from a commercial standpoint, when you're early in the morning or you're trying to get in that HOA and try to not make noise. You can run full EV for about an hour without the engine needing to come on. So, you know, it gives you a lot more flexibility, but the true thing here that I really want to point out is the power that you get to the deck is incredible. Now, the drives are full EV. They are our electric drive motors. So the only thing that the engine is turning is the deck when it's turned on. And so, you know, a lot of people say, why EV? Well, I mean, obviously you get a lot more power, but you know, when you're talking about cost, you know, for a standard ICE machine, internal combustion engine, hydraulically driven, you know, it's at a certain price point. To go full EV on the same vehicle is really high, cost-wise. Sometimes double, you know, or more. Where the hybrid gets now is somewhere in between there. So now trying to bring the cost down, but it'll pay for itself, you know, especially from a commercial standpoint. We don't make the mowers, but every single component that's in here, that's our transmission, we make that. I mean, we actually roll our own. We make our own electric motors. We get the raw wire in, we wind it, we magnetize the magnets, we put everything together, we put it into the gearbox, we make the gearbox. We make the controllers that control that motor. We make the ancillary electronics that are needed, which I can show you probably in better detail over here on the side where we can really point those out.
Okay.
But yeah, we do everything in-house. We control our own destiny. From the electrification side of things on electrification products, this is our HGME. That's the electric drive that's in our hybrid. It's wound for 88 volt, but we can also wind it for 48 volt. And here's our deck motor, right? This is what's in a version. This is our mid-mount deck motor. The only difference between this deck motor and what you see in the hybrid is our proprietary patented mechanism to allow the belt to work. Here is our battery. This is our 88 volt power pack battery. So it's a single battery that's on that vehicle. It's what we're charging up. So here's how I like to explain from an EV standpoint, electrification products. So when we're talking about our electrification products, you've got the motors, okay? Whether it's the transmission motor or whether it's the deck motor over here, okay? That's the men in the relationship, right? They do all the work, but they're pretty dumb. And they need somebody to tell them what to do, right? So we also make the wives, the controllers, and that's what you see here. And these are all made in-house as well, okay? We make all of these in Indianapolis. So here's the controller. It basically tells the motor what speed and direction to go. Now, you also have to have, so you got the men, you got the wives, husbands and wives, but then you have to have some type of user input signal to determine what speed and direction you want to go, right? That's our LBSMs, lap bar sensor modules, or the kids in the relationship, so to speak. They determine the speed and the direction that the family goes, right?
Yeah.
But then, you also have to have something, because this is all on a CAN bus. And so you've got a CAN bus and you've got all this messaging that's going on between these components. And so you have to have an overlying device that that controls everything, right? So that's our vehicle integration module, or the mother-in-law, right?
Well,
you got to have that. You got to have that overarching controlling entity, right? And then lastly, you've got to be able to communicate to the system, right? You've got to be able to make sure that from a user interface to either diagnose, troubleshoot, update firmware, change some settings for drivability, you've got the Bluetooth module. That's grandpa in the relationship, the great communicator. And one of the nice features about having a Bluetooth is also developing mobile applications. Okay, the mobile applications, so I can actually, with my phone and an app, I can communicate Bluetooth to the whole system. I can see what's going on in the whole system, and I can diagnose. The other nice feature is a co-pilot capability. So let's say that you have this app on your phone and you're connected locally to your vehicle system, and you need help troubleshooting. There's a co-pilot feature that you can call me and you give me the code, and then I can log in and I'm now connected through your phone and I can see everything you can see. As long as I've got good cell signal with you, I can now see everything, help you diagnose it and tell you what's wrong. Wow. So we've really thought about full system and really trying to make sure that from a service standpoint, we're covered. Because not a lot of people really know how all this works. I mean, they know hydraulics, they know gas engines. Any lawnmower shop can help you there, but you really, this electrification stuff in our industry is kind of voodoo in some cases, right? They don't know how to, well, it's giving me this code, what does it mean? How do I fix it when something, it's not if it fails, it's when it fails and how do you deal with it, right? Or when you have a problem, how do you diagnose? And so we've tried to take that and minimize that as much as possible by providing all of these auxiliary components and the apps. And we have our own software designers. We have our own app developers. So again, we took ownership of all this and we do all of this in-house.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Hi, I'm Ed from Wright, and here we're at the 2025 Equip Expo. And in front of us here is a prototype that's been put together by Hydrogear based on one of our existing chassis. And it's a very interesting machine from an engineering standpoint. It has some unique advantages. So let me walk you through what's going on here. First off, There's a battery back here that we'll characterize it as about maybe 30 minutes of runtime on that battery. And it has an electric wheel motor. So it's got a very torquey responsive drivetrain in it. And then the engine is not tied to a transmission like you normally have on a hydraulic mower. The engine is connected to the deck. And the deck also has electric blade motors. And so what's going on here is this would be a hybrid machine, but it's hybrid in the sense that it has a ton of power. So between the engine and the deck here, we're talking about the equivalent of about probably 50 plus horsepower that can be put to the ground when it's running both the electric and the engine together. And then when you're in lighter load conditions, these blade spindles will create a regen effect, or they'll create a charging effect back to the battery, and that's what's driving the wheel motors as well here.
So now that you've seen this hybrid technology, what do you think? Please put your comment down below. Really looking forward to having a discussion and seeing this new technology, where things are heading. So that's it for now, friends. Thanks for watching. See you next time.